Across the South Coast, live from Solent University, you're listening to Solent Sports News.
Good afternoon, it's 4 o'clock, I'm Toby Chapman and welcome to Solent Sports News. We begin with Erik ten Hag's firing as Manchester United manager. The Dutchman's tenure at Old Trafford ends 2.5 years after taking the role from interim manager Ralf Rangnick. Ten Hag's final game was Sunday's 2-1 defeat by West Ham that left the club 14th in the Premier League with just 3 wins from their opening 9 matches. Assistant coach Ruud van Nistelrooy will take interim charge. Former United player Gary Neville believes it was an inevitable decision.
It was decided a few weeks ago that the next big bad loss or bad result, we're probably going to have to act, and that's come yesterday. So they will, I think, have started definitely the process of finding Erik ten Hag's successor, because that Tottenham game a few weeks ago did feel like the end, even though it wasn't the end on that particular day.
I have sports journalist Tom Wilkinson in the studio with me. Tom, can you talk to us through his time at Man United?
Yes, Erik ten Hag, quite the character, arrived at Old Trafford at the start of the 2022-23 season, and initially everything was pretty good. However, you can almost pinpoint the moment where things started to unravel. That 7-0 loss at Anfield in March of 2023 began this period of pantomime that we've seen over the previous 18 months. And he was convincing himself, and only himself, that everything was okay because he won the League Cup at the end of his first season, and at the end of last season picked up the FA Cup as well, beating main rivals Manchester City in the final. But they finished 8th in the Premier League. This season, they're 14th. For Manchester United, that is unacceptable.
What will the players be making of this sacking?
Obviously, they'll be respectful. Bruno Fernandes has already been on social media wishing his ex-boss the best, but I don't think they'll be too surprised, and I don't think they'll be too unhappy either. Ten Hag, with a reputation for falling out with his players, Cristiano Ronaldo, Marcus Rashford, Jadon Sancho, all of them falling out with the manager. And I think Manchester United, with the Dutchman at the helm, were heading down a dead-end road.
So are there any immediate ideas as to who could take up the helm at Man United?
They could obviously do what they did a few years ago with Ole Gunnar Solskjaer and go down the route of keeping a former player at the helm, like they've got with the interim boss Ruud van Nistelrooy. The pool of managers outside of that is not particularly extensive. Gareth Southgate, Xavi Hernandez, Graham Potter, maybe even Zinedine Zidane, who knows. The current favourite is Brentford manager Thomas Frank, but they're also linked with Sporting boss Ruben Amorim, who was potentially going to take the Liverpool or West Ham United job in the summer.
Thank you, Tom. It'll be interesting to see where this story goes. To the Saints now. Manager Russell Martin believes that it's a big week for his side. Saints are in the EFL Cup round of 16 tie against Stoke City tomorrow night. This match is followed with a trip to Wolverhampton, where they take on the fellow Premier League strugglers Wolves.
I think it's the most important game we've had this season. We need to try and win, get to a quarter-final of a cup, and we need to build on today. And we'll play the strongest team available to us in terms of fitness and readiness. It's a big, big game for us. Definitely won't be 11 changes. There will be some, I think, such as the nature of it, and we have 2 big games after that, but this is the most important one, so we'll play the team that we feel is the most ready to win.
After Saturday's loss to champions Manchester City, there are a few positives to take away. In particular, manager Pep Guardiola saw some positives from the Southampton side.
They make a movement to create a space to link to the striker, and they put over players on outside to bring you there, and it's not easy, but saying that, we create enough chances to win better. I think when the people say, no, in the Premier League every team can beat everyone, yeah, that is the truth. Every game is a battle, it's so difficult.
Fans will be wanting something to celebrate this season, but not in the way that one fan celebrated last season's Championship playoff semi-final. Reports today say that Southampton fan Liam Dwyer has been fined for his pitch invasion at St Mary's when striker Adam Armstrong scored the winner against West Brom in last season's second leg victory. Now from one football to another, reporter Reardon Goodwin went down to local American football side to see how they got on.
Fans were out in full support on a cloudy and cold Sunday afternoon as American football team Solent Redhawks played their first game of the season. They lost 46-6 to the Surrey Slingers as a breath of fresh talent took to the pitch for the first time. One of their captains, Ben Lester, reflected on the result.
Personally, I think second half we did a lot better. First half was a bit rocky. We definitely had a lot of mistakes. Especially it was hard when we had no pre-season, so we couldn't get it out of the way with the rookies. And then it just showed today how they had more experience.
As the sport isn't as popular here in the UK as it is in the US, many people don't get involved until university, something which definitely showed as a slow start put the Redhawks on the back foot. But how does a side with a lot of new players turn that around?
I'm Will Waters and I play lineman. I just feel like first half no one came out with their heads screwed on properly. We went back in, got a little bit of a telling off, then we got motivated back up by our president. He was great in the changing rooms. We came back out, brand new team. Next team we go against, hopefully we come out with our heads screwed on straight away and get straight in. Hopefully for the next game we'll have everyone trained up and ready to go.
A heavy loss in a new sport would normally deter a lot of people from playing it again, but this had the exact opposite effect to the Solent University side, as they had a newfound belief that their second half performance would carry them on to great things with some extra work.
Ibad Ahmed, that's my full name, and I'm a linebacker for Solent Redhawks. If we can play like the second half in our next game all the way throughout, I know for a fact we're going to have an amazing season. We have our next game in 2 weeks and I'm really confident that we'll win that and do really well.
My name is David and I play defensive line. Yeah, we just need to keep our energy up like we did in the second half. Throughout all the game, the first half and second half, any game we play and we'll do better.
In 2 weeks' time, the side will head away to play the Sussex Saxons. Despite their loss at the weekend, it's hard to bet against them when a team with so many new players in the sport are ready and full of confidence to bounce straight back.
Thank you, Reardon. To Formula 1 now, where the battle between Lando Norris and Max Verstappen continued. Last weekend's penalty for Norris in Austin was seen similar today as Verstappen saw driving penalties this weekend in Mexico. 2 10-second penalties saw the Red Bull driver finish 6th, 4 places behind Norris, who finished second behind race winner Carlos Sainz. To golf now. Golf is seeing a record numbers of players taking up the sport, in spite of the division the professional scene is still suffering from. Tom Wilkinson went to discover why there has been such a substantial growth.
Golf has traditionally been seen as an elitist sport. Sure, in the annual trip to the driving range, there will be that one shot out of 100 that makes you feel like prime Tiger Woods, creamed straight down the middle before you swiftly return to nailing balls straight through conservatory windows or directly into the centre of lakes. But in 2024, this is no longer the case. In fact, golf is seeing record numbers of players. The overall figure globally grew by 3 million people from 2023 to 2024, having already grown by 15% since 2019 and a 44% rise since 2016. But why the growth? I spoke to professional PGA Tour coach Gary Mills to get his thoughts on the sport's past, present and future.
Getting out in the fresh air. It's certainly something you could join up with 3 friends. The key thing is to keep kids coming back.
We all remember 2020, a year spent indoors playing Cluedo with the cat and waking up at 9 a.m. to do star jumps with Joe Wicks. After being stuck inside for 6 months, we were all desperate to get outside, and the sporting entities that had weathered the ultimate storm became the beneficiaries, golf clubs in particular.
I haven't played for some time, but during COVID, I think it was probably just a frustration of not being able to go outside. And I actually used my old clubs and started to pick the game up again.
So I used to walk around the golf course with my husband just after COVID, and after a while I thought, well, why don't I try and compete against him? So I did.
The progress is not just in the lower levels though. Since Greg Norman and the Saudis rocked the golfing world in 2022 with the controversial Live Breakaway Tour, professional golf has been at war with itself.
2 out of 3 in bat. Sheffield teams are difficult Augusta.
However, an exhibition match between PGA Tour stars Scotty Scheffler and Rory McIlroy and Liv's biggest names Brooks Koepka and Bryson DeChambeau is coming up. A potential olive branch being handed out, but do the fans think the damage already caused is irreparable?
I get really frustrated with this because I think it's disappointing that we can't see all the best players playing against each other regularly.
I would like golf not to get too political about it. I just hope they can find a resolution that is good for everybody.
Let's hope golf doesn't make a bogey of this opportunity. It's all for the best.
Thank you, Tom. Thank you for that insight. And thank you guys for listening. That's all from us today. We'll be back next week from 11 a.m. Remember, you can keep up to date 24 hours a day on our website, which is solentsportnews.com. Thank you from all of us. Goodbye.